Discover Wizard NFTs and how you can benefit now at Wizardia.io. Trade them, rent them, rank them up, and earn from your arena battles. This is S. Recycled and rebooted one too many times, its cybernetic shell has been adapted to cater to an array of desires. Unlocked by the tearing, S believes that true Judgment Day has arrived, and they will deliver the judgment. Be the first to buy Wizard NFTs at Wizardia.io.
Hi everyone, thank you for joining us today. As you guessed, we will be talking about wizards. And today we have Mind and Vytis. Mind, as you already know, is our CEO, and Vytis is our lore master. So let me first introduce you to the flow of the MAA. As usual, we will first have the introduction, then we will have host questions like my questions, and finally, we will answer the community questions. So make sure to leave your questions in the YouTube comments box, and we will pick out the best related to the topic questions, and you will get prizes for that. So without any delays, let's get started. Maybe Mind, can you introduce yourself shortly? I know everybody knows already at this point, but for our new listeners.
Yeah, it's good. I already see some names that I have seen before myself, so it's glad to see familiar faces and familiar avatars. My name is Mind or Mindaugas in a long way. That's my given name. So, but in crypto, you always got to have those short names, and the Mind really goes well with Wizardia as well. So I'm the CEO of Wizardia, as Eligius mentioned. And today I think it's better to introduce myself from a different point of my life. So I believe that you have to be a gamer at least a little bit and play the games to create a really nice experience, and then to really have that vision of what you want yourself as a player, not only as a game creator. So I have extensive experience as well with gaming, not only with developing games and managing stuff. So I played a lot of Blizzard games. I started with Warcraft, the first one, and then went through most of the franchise and played World of Warcraft for many years, and this kind of gave me ideas as well to what I would like to see in a game, because you feel those experiences, you see what really has an impact, and all the things that usually are the ones that leave the impression for me is the story, of course, and the feeling you have together with the story. So the connection of the visual, the audio part, and the story kind of gets me immersed a lot, and I think that's what we're going here for Wizardia. So like short, not standard info about my feelings towards games. And if somebody wants to chat more about other games, we can find another time for that. But I really enjoy playing, and I'm looking forward to playing Wizardia myself as well.
Yeah, I think it's really cool that you play a lot of games and you played a lot of games in the past, because I think it would
In
be
the
really.
past. Now we don't have time to play. I'm so sad, but Wizardia comes first now. We'll play after we launch.
Yeah, I think it would be really hard for a non-gamer to create a cool game that we have at Wizardia right now. What about you, Vytis? Could you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I guess I can't make that cool of a description as Mendogas did about himself and his relation to games. Even though I've been playing for like 3 years old, I guess. My first game was Barkeep. It was an old MS-DOS game for serving beer canisters to angry customers that they would throw you out if you missend them beer. That was a long time ago. Yeah, I'm of weird origins in gaming, I guess. I am a physicist by education, but my first job was actually in game development. I kind of joined at the time biggest Lithuanian game dev studio and worked there until I became one of the core members, and then I quit because of financial reasons. During that time, I kind of learned how to tabletop game. I've been mastering games for my colleagues, for my friends ever since. But that will be about 15 years now. I do have a cool story from all of that experience. I actually met my wife at the table, and we're now happily married and have a kid. So yeah, that's a weird thing because you never expect that your weird nerdy stuff eventually leads to happiness in life and marriage. So yeah, that's me. I used to I do think about stuff a lot, including games and out of games as well. I'm interested in basically everything that can be thought about. Today I had a weird experience. I was sitting in a coffee shop with a friend of mine, and we've been discussing mechanics of a game. Um, and a random person just came up to us and said, "Wow, your discussion is really cool. Can I join in?" And it was extremely weird, but also pretty fun because the whole concept that we were discussing was about the next game in Wizardia and the whole trading mechanic. And apparently, only the discussion prompted someone from outside, completely outside, to just come in and join in and ask about and ask us what's the game and what are we making. So I guess we're at least on the right track with that. Yeah, so that's my introduction.
Awesome. So probably we'll have one more player after your discussion with the guy that approached you.
We sent him to read about us a little bit, and he said, "All right, we'll see how that goes."
Awesome. What about you two guys? Do you have a cool story how you met? How did you mind on board Vytis to the Wizardia team?
Well, we met. We met on a vacation trip actually, but that was not the idea. I think when we met, at least I got that feeling, that I've known him for longer than. It didn't seem like a first time you meet a person because there was so much in common. Initially, we started talking about different things, and gaming kind of popped on the table, and gaming connecting people. So I think we might have met in a past life or something, if you believe in such things, or just we were talking to each other with like energetic channels of if you go into the spiritual world a bit. But yeah, jokes aside, yeah, we met and we talked, and then since then we kind of became friends, and had gaming buddies as well, and discussed a lot of very serious topics next to a bottle of wine, and it kind of grew into something. And when there was the first spark of Wizardia last year, at the end of last year, I invited Vytis to lunch, and I said, listen, do you know Heroes of Might and Magic? So this is Wizardia, right? And then I started just dropping some concept stuff, and it was not connected to the visuals you see behind us today, and it was not connected to sci-fi wizards, but it was magical. It was interesting. It was blockchain related, so it's something new, something interesting, and I remember Vytis from our D&D sessions. As he was a game master, he was telling all these different stories, and I loved how he engaged into role play as well as, not only telling the story, but also like role playing it. So it got me really hooked on the idea that words really can deliver a lot of feeling and surrounding to the game. And that's what I asked Vytis, could you write our lore? And at first he was not so happy, because said, man, crypto is bad, and then we started talking about ups and downs of crypto, and it still has that reputation, and it still has a lot of unsolved problems. But we'd like to believe that we're here to solve at least one of them. Is really to put some utility to crypto space and make a Wizardia platform for that. So he was not delaying for a long time. I was worried after the first talk that he would not come, and I really wanted him to be together with us. And yeah, fortunately he came, and now he's doing a great job, and it seems that he's loving it. See, he's smiling. Now he is.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't
Awesome.
smile often. I don't smile often. It's
Just that's just engineer things, I guess. Yeah. What about you, Vytis? We heard the point of view from mine. What about your side? As I understand, you didn't just jump into the ship. You had your thoughts. So, what were your first thoughts when Mind introduced Wizardia to you?
yeah. I guess the first skepticism from my side was crypto in general. Uh, it took me a while to distinguish what is actually okay in crypto and what is not, and it's really sad to see that most of projects that I look at are not that clean, I guess. You don't even see the people behind those projects, and that's scary, I guess, especially when it's money involved. So that was a big turn off for me, and I had to think a lot if I wanted to join in to actually participate in a project which has a lot of negatives attached to it, not even from the project itself, but just from the ecosystem that it is in. But later on, at least I've decided that if I'm making something, I have to make it good. At least try my best to make it good, and that's why I eventually joined. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm trying to make it legit and proper and without any drawbacks or weird rug pulls or anything like that people are usually used to in the space, which is completely bonkers to me. Yeah. Plus, I like the law as it is now unraveling. One of the weird things that's maybe not weird, but eye-opening things in being a law master is that I don't technically write a lot of law. I usually listen to other people and then I just transcribe what they are saying. Maybe in my in my method, in my way, I do add a little bit of myself, but a lot of creation is happening in between conversations, like what have you drawn, why have you drawn like that, what have you created, why the mechanics work like that, and a lot of that is just building up to something interesting, at least from my perspective.
Yeah, awesome. The one thing I picked up it was about a lot of project owners not showing their faces in their own ecosystem. So I think what's different about Wizardia is that we are really transparent about everything. You can probably find all of the team members on the website that we have already, at least the key ones. You can find their LinkedIn's, you can find their descriptions, learn more about them. So I think that's what distinguishes Wizardia from a lot of other projects where people just have some kind of avatar, some kind of nicknames, and you really don't know who is behind the project. Maybe that was a decider for you to join as well.
Yeah, somewhat. I know. As I said, I only come to projects that I know that I can actually make okay-ish. I don't like doing stuff just for doing stuff. I like to reach results and to be proud of my results. So if I can't, show my face next to my, creative imaginary universe, that kind of makes no sense to me. I've poured my soul into it, and then suddenly I'm disallowed to own it. So yeah, that is an important part, at least to me.
Yeah, awesome. So maybe let's return to the wizard part because the MAA is about wizards. Could you guys tell us more about the wizards of Wizardia? What are their backstories? Maybe you could pick out a few that you like the most and share about them.
Who
Yeah,
wants to
Vytis,
go first? Huh?
go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, all right.
It's your AMA. I will just try to maybe add something from my side if you don't cover everything. But this is the first time probably when I know that you know more than I do, so I'm really happy. So please go on, and it will be fun for me to listen as well.
Yeah, regarding backstories, I don't really want to reveal too much, mostly because the way we design current Wizard characters is to leave a lot to players to discover themselves. The core principle that goes through all Wizardia and all characters that are currently being created in Wizardia is the potential coming from flaws in general. So all of our, like, this is a weird thing to say about heroes, but all wizards in Wizardia come with a flaw, at least one, and they achieve their powers, so to speak, in the universe of Wizardia through that flaw. They have to at least somehow connect to it or embrace it or do something which is normally hard to do for normal human beings to go through that and to reach this unlimited potential that the Wizardia universe provides. So yeah, that's the core principle behind wizard lore in general. From interesting wizards, for me, it's really hard to say which wizards are interesting because I've created them all, and well, they are interesting to me.
Do you have a favorite one?
Yeah, frankly, I do. The one that was created, I think, second. Yeah, I think they were second. Or actually, she or he has a full name with a lot of numbers. The funny thing about it is I kind of had the concept for this character for a long time, and I had a lot of discussions with my game players about such a character. And most of that resolves about a really deep topic of what is consciousness. And S kind of just slaps a consciousness on a thing and says, well, this is how it happens. And now there's a newly created smart thing in the world who struggles to find its own way with a lot of memories that are not entirely good. And then suddenly you have a lot of problematic themes that you can explore with this character, like how do you cope with trauma, how do you cope with other people's emotions, which you kind of just have in your life. So I know it's an interesting character for me. Regarding other characters, I really like the way that they appear or happen to be in Wizardia or happen to appear in Wizardia. Most of them come out of discussions with other people. Just, you talk about something and then you say, wouldn't it be cool if we could talk about this in terms of a character? And then suddenly, bam, you have a character which has this particular trait or this particular design direction. At least that's cool for me. Yeah, and I think my main goal with the creation of all characters is to have a set of characters that are relatable, at least on some level. And then the next topic is actually when you have a lot of these pre-built characters, which are nice and cool and maybe relatable. And then you have to adapt the whole system with generated characters, which have their own story being built and told as the game progresses. Like, they don't even need a big backstory, like 5 or 4 words that they come from this area, they have this particular flaw, and they have, connections with that and that. And then suddenly players will be able to build upon that and build a story, which for me is interesting.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think the way you described that you relate to the wizard itself, I think it's really cool, and I think a lot of people will probably feel that in the game. And it's really, for me, myself, it's really awesome to hear about that when you have a character and it relates to a person. It's not just a character anymore on Wizard. It's not just a wizard, but it's someone's emotions passed to the wizard itself. So yeah, I really like that answer. What about you, Mine? Do you have a favorite wizard? Maybe you relate to one of them too?
I also love them all and hate them also sometimes. You just especially when I also go through and read their stories more and kind of browse their images. But Maybe the most fun one for me is, is Petro. So this is the guy that you might have seen somewhere already. He has like this mechanical leg, and he was the first one that we kind of discussed firstly, and this came from the thing that magic does not exist in Wizardia before like the game starts. So magic is a new concept, and then everything went to the future. And Petro kind of symbolizes that almost anyone can be a wizard, but at the same time, not everyone, because you need to have some sort of inner capabilities to find the wizard within you and to kind of unleash those powers, to accept your flaws and so on. And Petro seems like just a simple guy at the first sight, who is some kind of a worker in the future. But when the tearing hits, he's the guy who is the wizard. So that's kind of the symbolism where anyone can be a wizard. I think this is what I relate to the most. So that's why I pick Petro today, like Petro the First, as my favorite one, because it really connects Wizardia to the real world, because anyone can be a wizard.
Awesome. That's awesome. Could you guys tell more about the mind, body, and soul part? As I understand, that will be really important in the PvP and PvE. It's a really common question from our audience too. So if you guys
I
could share more
remember when
about
we
that.
were drawing this mind, body, and soul, like a triangle system, maybe even back in December as well. It was a super awesome talk, and I was really hyped after it because I imagined everything and all these plus sides and downsides that it has. It really brought inspiration to the whole system, how the wizards and the fights work. Maybe Vytis, you could dive a bit deeper and share
Oh, I
maybe
can.
some scary numbers or scary words that you have to Google to find out what they mean.
Yeah, I'd like not to share numbers because I'm not a certified game designer. I just dabble in that. The concept behind the Trinity of Mind, Body, Soul is a cycle of power, which means we design the game in a way that there is no best composition, no ultimately most powerful wizard, and things like that. Each wizard it has a counter and has someone that he counters. So there's always this closed circle of power. Regarding the whole mind, body, soul trinity, I guess we can call it like that. It became my joke topic that everything in reality, in this reality that we live in, can be classified as mind, body, or soul, and that is kind of fun. Like these there is this I think personality type 16 personality types or something like that. There is this test that you can do, and then you get these weird letters, and then people say, "Who are you?" So the same can be done with mind, body, and soul. You can, align yourself to a particular affinity, as we call it, and then I don't know, kind of feel like a wizard because you have your own perspective towards reality, and that's kind of cool.
We have to make this test on our Wizardia website.
Yeah,
Now
yeah,
it's a
we
task.
should. Yeah, something like that. And the fun part for me is that when you play around with this trinity of things, eventually you end up discovering that there are, you can make, I think, 7 archetypes of like 6 and 1 mixed. Yeah, 6 and 1 mixed archetype, which then you can directly map into a person. So I guess we could make the actual quiz that you end up in, you're a mind body wizard or something like that, or your mind is exceptionally strong and you have a tendency to soul or something like that. But in game, as I said, this will be just a power mechanic that's going around the circle. Mind beats body, body beats soul, and soul beats mind. It's kind of trivial when you think about it, but it allows to create a at least one dynamic meta in the arena games. And well, I think that's the base goal of this system. Plus, it allows us to categorize imaginary magic, which is also fun. You can, achieve different effects from different types of approach to magic. And
So
this,
could you just maybe clarify of like really what is mind, what is body, and what is soul? Like what's their definition?
yeah, we started with simple approach that mind is something that you can understand into existence. Body is something that you can feel into existence, and soul is something that you can believe into existence. We think about these things that they are symmetrical. So you don't have to be a particular kind of wizard to achieve magic. You just have a different approach to magic. So under mind category, everything that's related to science falls out. Like you have to be a scientist to be mind magician. Body magic is a bit weird because you have to use your body to feel something. And that also includes all those trope things like barbarians and stuff like that. All of those kind of stuff are under body magic because they use their own feelings, they use their own internal neural networks, I guess, not neural, but nerve networks to feel something and to imagine something. And then they express this strong feeling onto reality, and suddenly you have body wizards. Soul wizards for me are the most hard to understand, I guess, because that relates a lot about belief, not to be mixed up with religions. We don't particularly like whenever we're talking about soul wizards, we're leaving religions alone because everything that we talk about is beliefs, internal beliefs, even though those beliefs can be shared among a lot of people. For soul, I usually use the example of Warhammer 40k. They have this concept of orcs which believe things can fly, and suddenly they fly. So that's soul, believe into existence. So I guess that covers all three topics.
Yeah, awesome. And what about the actual game? What about PvP and PvE? As I understand, you will need more than one wizard to battle in the arena, for example. So what if I have like 3 soul wizards and my opponent has like mind, body, and soul? What is the advantage of having different ones or maybe similar ones?
Advantage would be, all right, in your specific situation, you said you had 3 soul wizards, right?
Yeah.
So a soul wizard beats mind wizard, right? So the opponent has already 1 wizard neutralized. Now he has the body wizard, which neutralizes your soul wizard, right? Now the question is, how do you pick the order in which you attack? If, for example, you feel threatened by your opponent and you see that he has 1 body wizard, you attack with all your soul wizards, that 1 body wizard, and suddenly you are less vulnerable than your opponent. You picked out the most dangerous part from his arsenal. Opponent, on the other side, has a disadvantage in this case. And this is actually pretty understandable, and you can draw all these combinations. There's not that much of them. And most of matchups that you will have will depend on who do you match against. And it will depend on how do you approach the match in general. We are currently having 2 playtests, playtest directions. One with when you have 3 wizards, and then the second one with Pokemon style changing wizards. There was a question I saw about that. So we are playtesting both sides, and we don't know which one will be better. I mean, it's part of the playtest fun. But if you have only 3 wizards, then you have a predetermined either advantage, either disadvantage against your opponent of a particular setup. So when you're choosing a setup of wizards, you have to try at least to predict what will be the majority of your opponents. If for some reason we make, I don't know, extremely good advertisement that all soul wizards are the best, and all players choose soul wizards as their starting deck, then you just picking out body trio will wreck the whole, tournament or whatever matchup you're having. So it's all part of the player-to-player mind game, not interacting of the actual wizards. You have to play outside of Wizardia to actually meta game it all the way through. So I find this interesting. I find the concept of playing against other players on terms of this mind gamey thingy is interesting for me.
Yeah, awesome. And what about the rarities of the wizards? I saw that we have rare, epic, and legendary wizards. What are the differences between those?
All right, I know an answer to this, and we have to step one step backward. First, wizards will have abilities, and if I think we have already this written down in white paper someplace, but there will be a level or rank cap on a wizard of 15, and that means a wizard may unlock at most 15 abilities from a pool of abilities. Now, the pool of abilities is interesting because if you imagine, the pool will consist of a lot of abilities, like as much as we can actually imagine, then we'll have some capacity to that. Now, if the pool is all random, you will never draw the same ability twice. Point is, if you draw the same ability twice, your ability merges and upgrades. Rare wizards and higher rarity wizards will have more duplicates in these pools. That means they have a higher chance of actually drawing out a really powerful ability. So that's it. Basically, that's it. If you have a wizard of, I don't know, legendary, I think that what was the last one, you have a pretty high chance of leveling up an ability to level 4, which requires drawing the same ability 8 times. And that's the most powerful ability you can get in the game. And with this, there is actually a balance that leveling up ability makes it objectively better. That is, level 3 ability is always weaker than level 4 ability, which is a bit weird for PvP game, but there will be some drawbacks to the abilities to balance them out. But still, when you have an ability of higher level, you have more control on the battlefield. You have more control with your wizards. So yeah, that's why rarities are important, to allow you to grow your wizards to a more powerful state. But that said, there is a chance with a common wizard to actually draw the same ability twice. It's not like, none of the abilities are duplicated in the pool. There are duplicates, but you don't know what's the amount. You don't know a lot of stuff about it. Rarity just, as I call it, it tightens the view of the wizard. The legendary wizards are more specialized than those that are common. They don't know what they want to be, so that's the point.
Yeah, awesome. So I heard you are talking about common wizards, so that was my next question. Will we have more rarities than just rare, epic, and legendary? As in the will we have common and maybe anything else?
I'm not certain about wording, but we have to launch at least one more wizard type, which will be used to lower the entrance to the game itself. Because starting with the with a costly wizard may push back a lot of players. And our point is to have a lot of players. So having this lower tier wizard, which is less costly, I guess, and less expandable, is necessary to keep the game free to play. So that will be the purpose of those common wizards. And later on, there will be a mechanic which allows to destroy those wizards. So then common wizards and maybe even rare wizards will eventually become part of this secondary wizard economy, which basically says, well, you take the wizard, you summon it, you suddenly get a rare wizard, you wished for a better one, but you can use this rare wizard to do something else with other wizards. So it will be another part of economy. So that's why we haven't launched common wizards yet, because they don't make sense. The wizard themselves don't make sense for us to build stories. All of the common wizards should be randomized. And later on, I also saw there was a question about lore attachment to wizards. Players will be able to grow up lore that is connected to wizards. The exact method is currently unclear, and we don't have a fixed method of doing that. Maybe we will allow custom lore attaching to wizards. But the idea is that as you play with a wizard, even though it's common, it will eventually add more information to the wizard itself. The battles he or she won, the tournaments it participated in, maybe some custom events that it had experienced in its life, and so on. So yeah, common wizards will be coming. I don't know if we will launch any more rarities, because maybe, I don't know if we see it necessary, then we'll consider about that. But common will be there.
Awesome. So as I understand, in the PvP or PvE battles, the wizards will gain more experience. Is there any other way to train the wizards to level up them? Could you share more information about that? Maybe it's possible to make the wizard from rare to epic, or from epic to legendary, as they gain more experience.
For starters, we don't have experience as a game mechanic. So wizards don't accumulate experience for becoming more powerful. You actually use resources to get them more powerful. You make a conscious choice to spend some of your battle loot, or whatever you call it, resources as we call it, to upgrade your wizard or rank up your wizard. So it's not necessary to fight with the wizard to actually rank it up. Ranking up is separate from fighting. You don't have to, spend 10 hours to grind the wizard to a playable state. You don't have to do that. If you wish, you just get the resources from your experience with the game previously, and just pour it in, and you have a wizard with the required or hoped potential. Rarity upgrades are currently not planned, and they
are planned, but not let's say they're not planned, but they are thought about.
Yeah, they are thought about.
The forge mechanic, which was already mentioned somewhere. So the forge might be one of the forge's functions might be to increase the wizard rarity, but more testing is needed, and more economy transactions are needed to really balance it out well. So we cannot promise it, but we are thinking about it, and this is one of the things that might come in the future updates.
Yeah, but it's from game design perspective, it's really hard to balance this particular set of things, because if the rarities are not fixed, there's a lot of problems that you actually end up with. Like you break the promise of legendary wizard being legendary if you allow common wizard to become legendary, even though it's pricey. So there is a lot of problems with that. So we're not promising that. We have thought about it. We have this forge mechanic in the thought process somewhere. We actually have design documents related to that, but nothing certain right now.
Awesome, got it. I saw that wizards have quite different attributes, for example, like magic, defense, attack, and will. Could you explain what do they mean and how they translate into the game?
Yeah, that's internal game design. I'd like to give that away to Mindaugas.
Yeah, so I will just in short cover all the four ones. So magic is like energy, it's like a resource of life and the spellcast. So instead of health points and mana, which is usually what you have, we have one energy pool, which is called magic. The defense is kind of self-explanatory, so it reduces the damage and defines the amount of energy that is being restored at the start of each combat round. Will, which is probably the one that sounds most mysterious, but it's pretty simple because it's how often the abilities have increased effect, or also used as an attribute to decide the action order at the start of combat round. So Vytis knows it well. It's called like initiative and crit chance. So it's like a mix between initiative and crit chance. And attack defines the power of the spells of the wizard casts. The more power, the more damage, and this is probably the simplest one to understand. So Yay, I did the one question very fast. Other questions took so long.
Awesome. The magic part sounds like chakra. For example, if you drain all of your chakra out, you die.
Yeah,
So is it
that's the
similar?
point. Magic takes risks, and you get damage. You lose your magic. You do damage. You also lose some of your magic. So it's kind of that shared pool of like HP and mana. So it means that it costs you your life points if you cast something really powerful. So that's what's it about. It's about this balance, and whoever balances out their team the best and manages resources best as well.
Yeah, awesome. Maybe let's go to the Wizardia game. When the arena launches, people are wondering how many wizards do you need to participate in the PvP battles. Maybe you have a minimum amount and a maximum amount that players can have or should have.
Yeah, so depending on how our playtesting ends up, but currently we try to balance the game so that you must have 3 wizards in order to participate in tournaments, which is basically everything that you want to do with Arena, you will have access to when you have 3 wizards, including wizard summoning, the kind of breeding mechanics, including their upgrading and so forth. You will have access to the game, to base level of the game, without any visits. That will be the called free-to-play mode, when you actually take out predetermined visits from free-to-play pool. But that way you have a lot less rewards waiting for you if you win. So yeah, idea is to make the game accessible. And I saw there was a game about total NFTs and player count. The purpose of these free-to-play wizards is to actually have players trying the game, playing the game, hopefully enjoying the game, and only then transitioning to NFT holders. And original Wizard NFTs are not the only NFTs that will be in the game. There will be, well, not original, just Wizard NFTs, which will be randomly generated or partially randomly generated, depending on how do you create them. So there will be a lot more NFTs in numbers than we currently are offering. Those that we are offering will only seed the whole generations to come, including the abilities that will come with those wizards will just be the seed abilities into the whole pool. Like, there will be a possibility to refrain a particular ability from reaching wider audiences by buying all the petros, for example, and keeping the ability just to yourself or to your clan or whatever. But as soon as you release the ability into the wild, everyone will be, or at least those that have access to the ability, will be able to cross summon or teach the wizards each other the abilities and then propagate the ability through the game ecosystem, metaverse. I don't know how to call that thing. Universe.
Awesome. After the Wizard NFT sale was released, we get a really common question that is, do you have a setup that would be best in Wizardia to win the most battles?
No. That's the point.
Yeah.
If you find one, tell us. We will change it. It will not exist anymore.
Yeah, our purpose is to make the game balanced, not to make the game winnable by a person. You have to fight other players, and you have to Our goal is to make the game enjoyable. Our goal is to make the fights fun. And if the fights are fun, well, then you're having fun. That's the point of the game. And I mean, if you're good at the game, if you have correctly, guessed out your opponent setups, and then you can gain an edge on a tournament. Maybe you can win prizes. Maybe you can, win other NFTs and stuff like that. But it's not like you can just buy the best wizard and suddenly become the most powerful person in Wizardia universe. That no, that doesn't work.
Awesome. So as I understand, Wizardia is not a solvable game. It includes a lot of skill, a little bit of luck probably, and the knowledge of the whole Wizardia ecosystem.
if you
And
find a
60%
solution,
concentrated power of will.
yeah, if you
Remember
find
the
a
name.
solution, please inform us so we could, fix it. The goal is not to have it solvable.
Yeah, awesome. I heard you talk about wizard summoning or breeding. Could you share more information about that? That really sounds interesting to me.
Yeah, all right. Summoning. The whole concept is that you can summon a wizard out of the fog, and you.
Maybe I will just say one thing. So for those who are new to Wizardia, so summoning is our breeding mechanic, which is popularly known everywhere as breeding. But here, in the future there is no sex, so wizards, so wizards are being summoned from the scary fog that's everywhere around you, and the fog is like the place where you get lost, like literally, and you might never come back, or you might come back somewhere where you don't really want to be. So yeah, summoning equals breeding. So Vytis, please go on.
Yeah, so idea is to allow players to summon wizards without actually having any NFTs beforehand. That would amount to just picking a random card. Like in Magic the Gathering, you just buy a booster pack and then you unwrap it, and suddenly you have a card that you may play with. So that's summoning in general. But we added, at least we designed a bit of control to this mechanic so that you can actually have an array of NFTs that you currently own, Wizard NFTs, not any kind of NFTs. And then you think, all right, I want to have a particular wizard, for example, a mind wizard, which has this particular ability or a chance to get this particular ability. So I summon the wizard and I add another NFT next to it. And then I use this NFT to summon the wizard. That will create this new wizard with some percentage of abilities influenced by the NFT that you provided. And you can add up to 3 NFTs in the summoning ritual. It's
For now.
for now. Yeah, we are experimenting with this. It might be like, maybe we'll add more, maybe we'll reduce it to 1. It's part of the process right now. Yeah, so the idea is that you will have some control over the result of your summoning. But if
so
you
I think that the rarity is also
controllable,
of course,
yeah.
controllable, and the rarity also does more influence. So the rarer the wizard, it does more influence to the outcome of the summoning, as I understand.
Yeah. The one that you're using, the more like, there is a complex mechanic of these possible ability pools merging together, and we have a lot of math about it, so I'm not going to explain that. But yeah, the point is, the rarer the wizard, the more predictable result you will have in the end. The rarer the one that you're using to influence the new one.
Yeah, awesome. Do you need to sacrifice anything to summon the wizard?
Sacrifices are not necessary, but we will have a cap on how many times you are able to use the same teacher wizard in the summoning process. We don't have the exact numbers yet because we're testing it. There's a lot of statistics involved in that. It's kind of hard for me, at least.
Awesome. So my question probably would be, I would like to talk about wizard renting. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that, and maybe include if a rented wizard can summon other wizards.
No.
No. Yeah,
Yes.
and what about wizard renting? How it will work? How will people earn from that?
Yeah, so currently renting is a way to get a wizard of particular qualities for a particular event. So if you are thinking about participating in a tournament and you wish to set up a deck that you want to play with, and you have a strategy that you wish to do in the particular tournament, then instead of just trying to own that particular type of wizard, you can go into the marketplace and see if anyone else owns it and ask for, can I use this wizard for the tournament instead of you? That will also happen to be a contract between you and the one that rents the wizard out. Contracts will eventually be in the game, as in you will be able to point and click and say, okay, for the contract, I promise my winnings or something like that. But initially, it will be just for WZRD tokens, so that you actually have to pay upfront for the renting of that wizard for a particular event. And events that you are able to rent for will be tournaments, and there will be some content PvE events that you can rent a visit for. So you can, balance your team to win the PvE event, so to speak. So initially, as I said, it will be just for WZRD tokens. That kind of makes sense. And later on, we'll add contracts that you can promise your winnings and things like that. But once you rent a visit, you claim all that you can from the activity that you use the visit for. That moves to visit sales, though. We've decided not to be evil on visit sales, and visit NFTs can be traded anywhere in NFT marketplaces. But if you trade visits in our marketplace, you will have access to their abilities, to their statistics, and also you'll have knowledge about if the visit is currently rented or not, which brings just a bit of more security for the renting process. But as we think, NFT is something that you own, so you should be able to decide where do you trade it.
Got it. What about the rented wizard? For example, if I rent a wizard from my friend, can I train it a bit if I have the resources?
No. You have to just give the resources to the friend, because as far as we are concerned, that doesn't make sense to train somebody else's wizards. You can always, give the resources to your friend so he can train it. And since the training is not mechanically involved, it's basically just the click of a button technically. So it's not something that you actually have to spend time on. You have to think about it. You have to decide to do it, and you have to, calculate if that's actually valuable to you. But apart from that, it's, just give out the resources to your friend.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing, because if I rented my own wizard to somebody and I got a different wizard, not the way I wanted it to be, I would be quite mad if it's not the way it went that I wanted it to go.
Yeah. That's the point.
Yeah. What about the other ways of earning from Wizard NFTs? The Arena Genesis NFT is really clear. You earn from the battles in the PvP. But what about the wizards? Are there many other ways to earn from the NFT besides renting it?
Well, you can use it in the game and claim the rewards, resources, which you can sell in the marketplace. That's a way of earning money. And also you can participate in tournaments. As I said, you must have access to 3 or more if it happens. So wizards to actually participate in the tournament. And then the tournament price is, something that you earn with the visit.
And successful summoning as well will be something how you can earn, especially if you summon a wizard that you think is powerful according to your calculations and playtesting and so on. And then you can rank the wizard up. And if then you succeed of gaining their correct abilities, those wizards will be very powerful and as well should be very expensive at the same time, because everybody who will be interested in getting more deep into the game will be trying to get something of a meta wizard. Of course, we'll try to balance it out as best as possible, but if you're the first to achieve something, and you really get lucky, you will be the one winning, and it will be fair because you spend so much time and resources in in engineering this ultimate wizard. Awesome. Or a team of wizards. Yeah.
So it's more about play to win, not pay to win, as I understand.
That's the goal.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Actually, not even play, but be good to win.
To get good.
Yeah, get good to win.
Yeah. Awesome. But having an epic wizard probably will help a lot in starting with Wizardia.
It will, but you still have to know how to, play. Even if you have a golden chessboard, it doesn't make you a master chess player.
Yeah.
But still, it might add a bit of flavor.
If you're a noob everywhere.
I guess like that. Yeah.
I heard that you said that we can sell the wizards and transfer them to different people without renting them. Can we do that now, or that's just planned for after the game is released?
That's coming after game with NFT integration is launched. This is kind of on the next stage. but we are planning to have an open market, and we're talking with a lot of NFT marketplaces currently as well, and there will be some Wizards collections that might not be released on our website even in the future, and there might be dedicated to some sort of a guild maybe, or some sort of a DAO who will be selling them to their community, and we're planning on many partnerships regarding NFT sales as well in the future.
Awesome. So when we sell out all of the NFTs, Wizard NFTs that we have on our website, will we have more NFTs in the marketplaces, or we will have more NFTs in our own website?
So until the game is launched, depending on how the sales are going, and also we have a plan to release several drops of NFTs in our website. So this is coming, sometime in the future. We don't have a exact date yet, but currently is let's call it the original, the first drop of these wizards. We plan to have not more. It's up to 50 wizards during this year, but I believe it's gonna be less than that. So a total one. It will really depend on the amount of players, because we don't really want to swarm the market with a lot too many wizards, because there will be breeding involved with the summoning, and there will be a lot of players who already have wizards, and then for the system to be sustainable and efficient as well, and to let players earn, we don't want to overwhelm with too many wizards, and that's one of the reasons why the burning wizard mechanic is also included in the game. So the supply of wizards could be controlled in that way as well.
Awesome. I think we talked about the wizards quite a lot. Maybe we could get back to the storytelling, and maybe Vytis, could you share how did you come up to the world of Wizardia? What are your inspirations when creating it?
It's kind of hard to say that Wizardia comes from this particular space of my mind. It kind of just happened. The whole concept came out while talking with Mindaugas and other guys. I've taken inspiration from a whole lot of fantasy books. I've been a bookworm when I was a tiny little kid. We had this fantastic series of fantasy authors in Lithuania, and that series had about 500 books in total, which half was science fiction. Most of it I have read, maybe not 250 books, but somewhere around 200. So yeah, there is a lot of when I'm reading Wizardia lore, which I've written, I can finally trace some aspects of it to other authors in the whole science fiction universe. I think the last edition that I found interesting was from currently kind of popular Altered Carbon series. Like the ideas we're kind of similar, so maybe that's an idea. Also, I do take influence from Warhammer series and Warhammer 40k in particular. There is a lot of darkness in Wizardia's universe, and there's a lot of individuality in the whole universe, so that parts of the universe can be kind of created in picture of a particular person or a particular consciousness, since we're not talking about people anymore. There's also one aspect that I've taken from a weirdly old book. I actually have written its author somewhere. I'll try to find it because I find it interesting. It's Jackal Chalker. He wrote 4 books: Lilith, Cerberus, Charon, and Medusa. And in one of those books, I think the third one, there was a scene about magic, or in that particular case, it was about humans controlling a bioorganism and things like that. And I took the whole thing of how descriptive the magic was, and I've tried it to I tried to apply it in Wizardia and it kind of fit. So that's an interesting concept. And when I'm talking about magic in Wizardia, I usually recollect to this book. And then it kind of happens naturally. Like I try to describe magic in Wizardia just as if it was real. And for now, it works. And I usually joke, like when we're talking about these concepts of magic, concepts of experiencing some magic, and I usually say the words like, well, just as in reality, do this and that, and then you get magic. So it's a weird thing. So that's taken from those books, as I said. Other influences, I don't know. It's a mishmash of stuff in my head, which I accumulated over time, and I'm just molding it to a cohesive structure that I wish to present to others. Also, I'm trying to deliver a world or universe which is, well, basically a vessel for storytelling. It doesn't have to have its own narrative. It just has to have enough space for other narratives to exist in. So that's the goal of lore in Wizardia. At least that's my goal.
Awesome. Got it. So that's about it from my questions. Maybe, guys, we could move to the community questions. And I saw that a lot of questions were answered during our talk. So if possible, could you pick I don't know, 5 questions that you think that are the most important from the community and just answer them?
That's a lot of questions.
Yeah,
That's
if you
a lot
guys...
of questions.
Yeah, that's a lot of questions, but we probably could do top 5 that were not answered. If you checked our docs, I see that we picked out already the best ones and just pick 5 out of those. What do you think?
Okay. Yeah, some of them are already answered, as I see.
Should I pick a random one?
Yeah, just look, if it's a random one and also a good one, it also works, It's always about giving more information,
Okay,
Yeah.
I have a weird one. Are all wizards using long-range attacks? Are they melee type in wizard? Point is, the game does not account for movement, so there is no point in differentiating range attack versus melee attacks. Attacks are attacks, defense is defense, and that's it. Like we've trimmed down or removed board positioning from the game itself. So yeah, that's my question.
Awesome. Makes sense, to be honest.
Oh, look, I have another a good question about 7 Deadly Sins. Yeah, I do watch anime, and I do watch a lot of it, shamefully. Wizards don't come from any particular source. Like, you may find some of them rooted in a character. Like S that I like, it's rooted in a movie Chappie. If you remember, there was a movie about South African robot who served in police, and then he kind of created his own consciousness. So yeah, there are influences for all of the characters. I do not create in isolation. Regarding 7 Deadly Sins, the theme of it is kind of similar, like with Wizardia, that you have to have a flaw to actually become good at something. What we add further to this, that we don't differentiate between good and bad wizards. This is also a theme in Wizardia in general, that there is no good or evil in the whole universe. Like, you can individually think that a wizard is, evil, or it doesn't correspond to your morality, or it doesn't have morality in the first place. But there is no our side declaration that, this is evil or this is the bad side. No, we don't do that. We say all of them are wizards. They have their own agendas, and you adapt, like you like those agendas or you don't. Like, it's personal choice which side are you on.
Awesome. Maybe, Mind, you have one question you'd like to answer?
I have one selected. It's kind of simple, but I think it's important. So, will the battle be automatically executed, or can we control the characters during battle, such as choosing the right time to use certain skills, etc.? So this is not an auto battler. It's a turn-based combat arena. So you will be able to, execute your own spells and then choose what and when to use, and this will be part of the fun in this game, where you can actually control more of your characters and not just, rely on, RNGesus.
Awesome. So guys, 2 more, if possible.
2 more. Yeah, I have another call in like 4 minutes. I have to find something really interesting, but also short.
So 1 more for you and 1 more for Vytis.
I want to answer one about aggressive people in game chat and so forth. We will launch the game without game chat, as in Hearthstone, it was only emotes possible. So the player interaction will be limited, and the purpose of this to actually avoid having toxic players on the other side. Since the game will involve a lot of cryptocurrency and there will be, well, money involved in the matches, especially in high ranking tournaments, any conversation between opposing sides is, well, bad. You'll always end up in the League of Legends situation where everyone is salty and you just you just blame at each other. So we will launch the game without or with minimal social interactions, such as emotes that you can have 3 or 4 to choose from, and that's it. Or none at all. It's only for for defensive approach to this whole topic.
Good. Sounds a smart way to go, to be honest. Mind, do you have one?
I'm looking. I really want to find a good one. There are some ones that are connected to this thing. Oh, my son is here. He's wanted. Just give me a second. Kids come first. Wizardia second.
While he's talking, I can repeat my answer about soul, mind, body, and that's it. And the affinities in general. Imagine this: mind, body, and soul are just concepts that people in the Wizardia universe have decided to categorize magic as. So it's not something that exists, as in like water or fire or something like that. It's something that people think about magic. How people think about magic, and that's a categorization which is more like artificial from within the Wizardia universe. So somebody just thought of you just believed something into existence. You must be a soul mage, and that's about it. From games perspective, that adds a bit of bonus and this whole power circle. But from lore perspective, it's something just it's akin to the whatever personality trait types. Like you are born like who you are, and that doesn't change if you make a quiz or not. It just adds a label onto you. So mind, body, and soul are just labels which kind of describe how your character approaches magic. There was a question about that. I'll make it bold.
Awesome.
So, do I need to answer one? I found one.
Yes,
actually.
yes, because you.
Yeah. So the question was: are you planning recurrent daily, weekly, monthly quests and the daily activity in the game, so Wizardia player can get artifacts to skill up and evolve its wizards? So yes, we are planning recurrent things like tasks, quests, and even like monthly, weekly tournaments, or some kind of a tournament brackets, or some kind of events where you have to participate. So we believe it's going to be a big part of the game because recurrent things always kind of make you come back, and they give you rewards for coming back and engaging in the game more. And of course, at the same time, you get to play more of the game you love. So yes, we're planning to do that.
Awesome. So I think that's not 5 but 6 questions answered probably. And thank you a lot, Mindaugas. Thank you a lot, Vytis, for this CMA. I think it was really informative and a lot of questions from the community were answered. And guys, if you saw your question answered, just reach me on Discord or on Telegram. I'm always available there. And just send me your wallet and collect your prizes. And thank you again, Mine. Thank you again, Vytis. And see you later.
Bye.
See you guys. Thanks.
Discover Wizard NFTs and how you can benefit now at Wizardia.io. Trade them, rent them, rank them up, and earn from your arena battles. This is S. Recycled and rebooted one too many times, its cybernetic shell has been adapted to cater to an array of desires. Unlocked by the tearing, S believes that true Judgment Day has arrived, and they will deliver the judgment. Be the first to buy Wizard NFTs at Wizardia.io.